Good evening, Monadnock region, and welcome to yet another episode, this one perhaps a little special, of GoMo Tonight, the Monadnock region's only locally hosted weekly comedy podcast. I'm here in the brand new Space Lounge with my lovely co-host,
Zoe Rotenheinsman.
and I'm Christy Loretto. So here we are. We're attempting to do this live program. I got my iPad here to test to see, because part of me's like, I really don't believe that this is gonna work. But so we can see if we're live on Facebook, which I'm not sure about, but if you accepted our Facebook invite, there's a link in there. You can join us. I believe, will be able to see you as you join, hopefully, and we will be. Oh wait, we do have two in the audience. How do I see them? Interesting. Sorry, participants, if you're out there, we will get you on here as soon as we can, but I don't know where you are. So, no one knows.
Floating in space.
Yeah.
Not yet to the lounge.
We're almost there. We're almost at the lounge. And let's see, are we live right now? Oh, we are. Yeah, we're live on Facebook. So if you're watching this on Facebook, we got a comment already. It looks like I can't see it. Oh, there's my voice even. This is great. So we got this studio. We can take live calls now as soon as we figure it out. Oh, it's our comments. Yes, because we have the link pinned. So as soon as I can figure out how to get, we got three in the audience now.
What about that button right up top where it's next to the title of the thing? Farther left. Even farther. Where it has the four and the people. Is that not a button?
Oh, maybe. No, it's not a button though. Huh. All right. So we will just talk and shoot the shit until we can figure that part out, though. I think.
I'll call producer Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, you know what we might need is, it's possible that we might need another laptop logged in as a producer, which is really kind of interesting. So, we are sorry if you think that we are morons. We don't really care, but we we have a few guests in here.
So if the guests would like to request to join, I think they have to do that.
Oh, yes, that is correct. I did read that. Okay, so folks out there in the audience, if you have joined, if you would like to ask us for good advice, to yell at us, I do think that there are some folks out in the community who may just want to call and yell at us. And, for the record, we do put in every single episode notes where you can send your hate mail. Sure, if you haven't. We put that offer out there. Very few people take us up on it. But if tonight's your night, you want to catch us live, you want to embarrass us and stuff, send us a little request. And but I also think that most of the people, we're up to more than that. So I think that anybody who wants to talk to us in any capacity, positive or negative, can make that request, and I'll probably get some kind of notification over here. Again, one day we're gonna have producer Jimmy. Producer Jimmy, if you're out there and you want to do this on some kind of volunteer basis, this is a thing that you're passionate about, is this Space Lounge and this program, please reach out to us. We're happy to loop you in, have an extra person. But yeah, I'll let this go for a little while. But Captain Trips is calling in, asking how do I deal. Oh wow, cool. This is pretty sweet. Okay, Captain Trips, hang on the line for a second. We're just gonna do a couple more intro things just to kind of showcase what we have going on here. So part of the reason that we decided to do this live call-in episode, besides the fact that for the first time we have the capability of doing so with this new platform, Riverside, is that we just passed 50 episodes. So,
That's right.
you know, cheers to that.
Cheers to 50.
But we kind of blew off our 50th episode milestone. We were just far too distracted to actually properly, observe it. But it just turns out
52 has been like a favorite / lucky number of mine and my brother's since we were kids. There's no real story behind it. It's just a number that stuck with us. And this is episode 52.
I'm not sure if you can pick this up, but we commissioned these glasses from the Ocean State Job Lot Corporation with 52s on them just for tonight. And there's still some available. We broke one on the floor of Ocean State. That one's no longer available. There's other ones. There's other ones there, and you are welcome to celebrate our 52nd episode milestone.
Get one of your own
after the fact, if you would like. But so we actually we're not going to do every episode live. Although if this works out and you guys send us good questions, especially Captain Trips here and his ilk. We will likely do this more often, but not every episode will be live with Colin. But this is where you can expect to see us broadcasting from now on. So we're moving to a new phase. We missed a couple of weeks, but now we're back up and running. We had that contractor issue, got shot down over Lake Huron. Thanks, Biden. And now we're back up and running. So thank you, all of you, though, before we get to Captain Trips here, for your support over these 52 episodes. It's been a little over a year. We almost did an episode a week for a year. We are really grateful for you, for sponsors, for guests. We've had many great guests, and just for the people, I'm even grateful for the people who tell me to go fuck myself when I post this in the Peterborough, New Hampshire Facebook group. There's this one ugly guy who, he likes, I don't know who he is. I don't know why he's got a hard on for me, but he does not like seriously, I don't even think he's connected to anybody that I know. I don't think I could possibly have offended this dude. Trust me, there's lots of people out there who have lots of reasons to be offended by me, but this guy isn't one of them. No fucking idea who he is. Doesn't like me, though. And he doesn't like the podcast and thinks that it's a waste of breath, I think was the term he used last night. But I'm thankful to that guy, too. Because, we understand media. And all attention is good attention. And I know that frustrates my enemies tremendously. But it is the way it is. We intend to exploit it. So, without further ado, let's see if we can get our buddy Captain Trips on here. And hopefully we don't cause a feedback loop or anything.
Oh.
Captain Trips.
Hey. Far out. Can you see me?
Hold on, Captain Trips.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh.
I do not hear you for some reason.
He can't hear me? Who's the doodle?
We got people talking in the chat. That's cool. Okay. All right. Captain Trips, one of our favorite friends. Hang on there 1 minute, and I'm going to try something and see if I can potentially hear you a different way.
Hearing me is probably good.
Who knows?
Someone in the chat is accusing us of sipping some Sutter Home here from us.
Oh, Sutter Home. Gosh, no. We didn't bring the can down here. This is a very sacred variety of hard cider from the Champlain Orchards in northern Vermont. They make a cranberry variety. Not that I don't know. I don't really drink Sutter Home. I don't drink a lot of Californian wines, to be honest.
You drink French wine.
Not to be a snob, but.
What the hell's going on? Can you people hear me yet?
Bear with me as I step off screen.
Captain Trips is His mouth continues to move. No sound coming out.
Man, why does your clock say like midnight? Is it midnight where you are? Where am I? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Holy Christ. What a novelty.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm only hearing you on my headphones, though. That's kind of weird. Hopefully the audience can hear our friend Billy. Um, but yeah, how you doing, Captain?
I'm all right, though. I'm really distraught.
You are.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm worried that like Mercury in retrograde is really like bringing me down, man. And like it's like when I'm going down the highway and I see a truck and its wheels look like they're going backwards. I don't know. It's like my world is coming apart and the energy's so bad. What do I do? Christopher, Zoe, tell me, where can I go? What can I do?
Did you want to take a stab at this one?
I didn't hear the beginning of the question.
So he's saying that when Mercury retrograde happens, he's afraid of crashing his vehicle. Things just really collapsing. He's very concerned. Do we even have a Mercury retrograde coming up? Didn't we have one like not that long ago?
Not that long. It was like the end of December.
There's so for those of you who don't know, I think Mercury retrograde happens 3 times a year, every year about. So it's every few months. I think that you have some time, Captain, before you need to worry about it because I believe we just had one at the end of the year. So it's probably another month or two before there's another one. You know,
I also think like you're probably safe in your car, right? It's more about communication.
no, communication, transportation, and technology is what they say. For those of you who get into this sort of thing, which I do a little bit, I'm not a dismisser of the astrology, and you know, I've never crashed and I've never had a major issue, but oh yeah, no, there's been stuff. So typically, again, as they say, you're going to be affected. Anything communication related, technology related, and travel. Usually, it's not necessarily something dramatic like a crash, but what could happen is someone else gets into a crash and you're delayed because of it.
But then it's a crash for them.
Is that what happened to your clock? Is your clock in retrograde?
No, the clock is here in the Space Lounge. The Space Lounge is timeless.
Oh,
so we have a decorative clock,
fuck me.
but it's on its own paradigm.
That's awesome. How did you have to sign up for that? Is there like a special deal you bought?
Yes, we commissioned that as well from Amazon.com. We had to make this clock special for us, a special Space Lounge moon clock.
So the Space Lounge is in with some serious heavyweights.
We just have money.
Lots
of money.
Do you know Jeff Bezos personally? Do you wax his shoes?
Not yet. We're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do know. I don't know if it's his mistress or what it is. We have an indirect connection, and we're working on getting him here the next time he's on the East Coast. So stay tuned. Maybe he'll come on the program. I don't know.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
I do have one last. If we can go back to Mercury.
Yeah, please. Yes. No, we need to help this man.
My piece of
Someone does.
Is that you should probably not do or call into a live podcast show during a Mercury retrograde.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't host one either.
You shouldn't host one.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
All right. Blair has commented that you're a little bit out of frame, so I'm gonna fix you or destroy our camera. Let's see, how are we doing? We got all of Zoe now, Blair, right? I don't think we'll let her.
Like half of Zoe.
Yeah. So it does. Okay, so we are getting a comment that folks are. Oh, we've got another fellow coming in with a nautical related question. So that should be interesting. All right, but we're going to finish up with our current guy. Um, yeah, he's saying move closer to me.
My chair is like.
So I have another question. Can I
Yeah,
ask another question?
it's like right up against it. So we'll we'll turn it a little bit more. But I am seeing you in the screen on the Facebook feed. So the full
I
feed
it looks good
is
now.
looking good.
I can see Zoe.
Off of the chair a little.
Okay.
I can yell that.
Yep. Yep. But is those in the folks in the audience though? Are we still hearing our Captain Trips at a much lower volume? I can't hear him at all unless I go through my headphones. So
Huh?
this is an
All right,
interesting
Blair says
experience.
he can hear fine.
Okay. All right. Cool. So what else is going on? So besides being the captain of the trips, our friend William Mullen here is Monadnock Underground's next book author. His wonderful road novel, Anywhere But Here, is coming out soon.
Soon.
We will have it done soon. I have had the pleasure of editing this book. Oh, we've even got a cover preview for you. Check this out. No,
Ah,
it's very
hard to see. Maybe go
yeah.
back more.
Yeah. Come
There we go.
come back. Yeah. So you can see part of it. Anyways, that's our cover design. It's going to be coming out. It's great. I've had the distinct pleasure of working on this as the main editor on it, and let me tell you, I'm really proud of Bill. This is a great work. I'm really excited about it. We're so close to done, and
We
it's
are.
coming out. You want to tell these guys about it at all?
Yeah, man. I mean, you and I have been working on this for quite a while now, and it's been like a multi-year process for me, really. And I'm real excited. You know, it chronicles like really unique and special time in my life that was just filled with a lot of craziness. And it's been great reliving the whole thing. And yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to getting this book into hands and you know, getting some reflections on the whole thing, the whole process.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and so I'll tease the audience just a little bit more about this, just to say that what we have on our hands here is in some ways a classic Go West Young Man road novel, right? But what's truly unique about this is that the with the exception of like, I don't know, fucking like John Candy movies, right? Which like, please God, we don't watch '80s movies in the Space Lounge at all, okay? But the 1980s are not a time that we typically associate with that mentality, with that like go west road trip across the country and all this stuff. So this is a story of two young men truly traveling against the grain of their entire time period, and the results are kind of what you would expect from that. These are two saintly young men who are not welcome anywhere, who cannot find a home, who cannot find comfort, who cannot find rest. They're kicked out, they're threatened, they're beaten, anything you can imagine, all across great America. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of insight that you can derive from that. There's a lot of whether it's about our culture or even just about ourselves as humans in general in this world.
Well, you know,
And I'm so excited to share this with the world.
one of the great things for me has been working with you as an editor. You've found these themes within my story that I wouldn't have seen myself, because it's like the whole thing is so ingrained in my brain from living it and the writing of it. And I think one of the really great things has been how we've been able to highlight different themes and bring out different themes within the story that really help to convey the whole narrative along.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate that too from the perspective of someone who is a writer who has himself tried and largely failed at writing those tales that are within us that are derived from real life, right? It's very hard because we're close to them. We're too close to them. you know? And so sometimes, so basically what I was able to do is apply to you what I wish I could apply to myself, but I cannot. Which is to say, because we are too close, we need a little bit of distance. We need that second set of eyes to say, this is what your story's actually about, even if you don't know that, you know?
Right
So
on.
I'm happy to. I am honored that chose us as your publisher and allowed me to be a part of this editing process because it has been a real pleasure. There are great themes in here, and I'm really glad to have been able to draw them out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
I think that the universe clearly had some funky energy in mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna kick you off now, Bill, but I lost my request from Enoch Johnson of Atlantic City, who, if you're still out there, Nucky,
You got the Jersey chiming
may,
in.
there he is. He's back. He's back. All right, my friend. Thank you
Yep.
for joining us. Feel free to hop off. We're going to get to our next question. Thanks for being our
All
first
right.
call-in guest. That's really exciting.
Hey, awesome. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
And we'll have, as we said, we'll have Bill's book out for you soon. We'll have him come on a regular episode as well that that will be dedicated. So we'll make him read some passages. It'll be cool. He did read some unedited passages at night market, and certainly scared all the remaining children away.
He's read a little bit at our monthly Writers Night Out.
Yes, exactly. And Bill, you need to come next month, which is March 9th. And all of you out there need to come to our monthly open mic that we host alongside the Peterborough Town Library at 5:30 p.m.
Every second Thursday.
Thank you. Every second Thursday of the month. So now, Enoch. Oh, there he
Hello.
is.
Dolphin.
Enoch, I believe, I don't want to speak for you, Enoch. I believe Enoch is here to bring our attention to an important and overlooked environmental issue that is going on right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have a question.
Please.
How can we save the whales?
How can we save the whales? See, this is now. I'll tell you, and I don't mean to offend your race or anything like that. I'm just speaking frankly here. This is a subject that I have gone a little bit back and forth about. I've never had any particular animosity towards the whales, but there was a time, like maybe a year, 2 years ago, where I was starting to think, like, maybe we should go back to whaling. Maybe we need whale oil. Maybe we should use that as a fuel source. A lot of people don't realize, but most of the maps of the world began through whaling. Whaling really charted the seas for the world, and it funded a lot of, say, coastal towns, and certainly in Massachusetts. I'm not sure. I don't want to presume your location, but I'm not sure about New Jersey. But certainly the New England coast had a lot of whaling money. Go to Newburyport and check out all those brick buildings. A lot of sin funded those buildings. But I have to say that, like, last summer I was in Acadia National Park on a boat, and I saw a couple of honestly, I forget what kind of whales they were. Saw a couple of whales. I decided I didn't want them to die. I didn't want to kill them. I didn't want other humans to kill them. They were like giving me vibes, and they weren't even saying, "Please don't kill us." They were saying, "We're just like you, just underwater, and we can't talk except for through the mind." So, all that to say, I don't know how we can save them, because honestly, I don't know what is the danger. But there is a danger. Am I right, Enoch?
I can't talk about it right now. More will be revealed at a later time, but right now, I can't speak about it. You have to forgive me.
I understand. I understand. You've got concerns for your own safety, and we do have a question from another audience member, though. You may be able to.
Thank you for your time.
What is you? No, I don't mean that. I mean, it's about you. I'm not kicking you up. They want to know what your pronoun is.
Oh, Uh, well, you know, I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that.
All right, so you're just calling to get answers. You don't really have a lot of
Yeah, I'm
answers.
sorry.
That's
I don't.
okay.
Yeah, I
Not
We,
appreciate
we
it.
didn't.
if
We,
they have a dolphin.
yeah, no, but we also didn't. We also didn't warn people that we would be asking them questions. We just said we would be giving good advice. I don't know. My advice: stay away from Atlantic City right now because there's whales and dolphins just dying.
I gotta
And
go.
you know, the humans are going to focus on that train. Oh, he's gone. Um, okay,
Too long out of the water.
yes, yes, that's true. Well, that's what's happening to these whales and dolphins. I don't know if you know this, but it's this mysterious thing. And you know, some of our New Jersey connections have been keeping me informed of this issue. But like every few days, there's like a dead whale washing up in Atlantic City, or a dolphin, or something like that, and unexplained. No one is even offering an explanation right now.
Washing up already dead?
I think already dead. I think they're just. I mean, or they're washing up because they're like half dead and can't stop themselves from washing up, and then they die on the beach. I don't know if they're all 100% dead when they come. You're very welcome, Enoch. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your participation, and we do want to draw attention to this issue because you know, a lot of people said that they were doing this whole like UFO shooting down thing to like distract us from the train car derailment, which was reported on every news station and in every single newspaper and every single online outlet. But in any case, I think though maybe we were being distracted from the whales of New Jersey in New Jersey territorial waters because people are distracted from that. No one knows anything about it. You know, it's there are news stories, but you either have to have somebody who is looking for them and getting them for you, or you have to like hunt them. Like, you have to like Google like dead whales in New Jersey. Then you can find them.
Why would you do that?
Exactly.
You didn't already know.
Exactly. I mean, you know, I subscribe to the New York Times. New York, as we know, especially New York City, right next to New Jersey, even though they don't like to admit that, right? But maybe that's why they're not reporting on it. But they're not reporting on it. I haven't seen anything in the New York Times about the dead whales washing up on very close shores to where they are. So, tricky issues. So, you know, that's what's up with that. Now, the one of our people is not going to make it because he has a son with the same name as himself who needs to go to bed. I'm going to say, tell that kid to fuck off. We have a live show going on, don't you know? At times, can wait. Or John, have Mina call in.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. We never really hear. Yes, whales in New Jersey. We got a comment from the audience. Yeah, that is one of the key issues, possibly one of the key issues of our time. We don't entirely know.
But what are some of the key issues going on here that we have not reported on since we've been absent?
All right, guys. So last episode that we did, we talked about a couple of businesses changing hands, such as Brady's and Toadstool. But this trend continues. It's before I drop the big news that most of you already know, probably, maybe you don't. There's enough critical mass here with these businesses changing hands that I feel comfortable saying that Peterborough is going through a paradigm shift. Like this is a changing of the guard, like all together. And by that I mean, not to be a dick, but maybe to be a little bit of a dick. I have called for this for quite some time since it was clear that Dave, God bless him, people tell me he's a good guy, but it's very clear that this man lost the mandate of heaven. If you don't know what that means, go ahead and Google it. Wikipedia will tell you. Lost the mandate of heaven, was not able to. Harlow's is what we're talking about. Harlow's has sold. Nobody can tell. I've heard rumors, but nobody can confirm for me who has bought it. If you have bought Harlow's, please, we would love to hear from you. But Yeah, but Peterborough shifting red. Yes, we are also now a Republican town, um, because Harlow sold. But so like, look, guys, people there's it's a very polarizing issue. I get a lot of distinct reactions when I share my feelings about the state of Harlow's, and I would divide them into the camps of the people who get it and the people who don't get it, right? People who get it, right, understand that Harlow's is like the heart of the downtown, and the music that used to play there and the crowds that used to gather there, especially on the weekends, was the pulse, the heartbeat of the animated living downtown. It was the music. And I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, people are offended by this. It was never about the food. The food was never that good. They can't make drinks behind the bar, so don't order a cocktail. They always had a decent beer selection. But it was about the vibe. It was about the music. It was about the gathering spot. It was about the shit on the walls. The stage.
The kids' stage, like that's important.
The kids used to be able to play on the stage. Another hot topic in the media lately is kids in restaurants. And Harlow's was a very intentionally kid-friendly restaurant. Was. Okay? But I'm not going to go into all the negative stories and, how he took a lot of money from the individual donors and the government and didn't do what he was supposed to do with it. Sorry, it's true. You can't sue me because it's true. Didn't bring live music back, put tables up on the stage where the children and the bands used to play, and just generally it was pretty clear, like, was not capable in any way of stewarding this important location in downtown. All props for founding it, for running it through its heyday and all this stuff. Not trying to take that away. No one else could have done that at that time. But we all must know when it is time to move on. And I'm very comfortable saying that it was time for Dave to move on. And he, I don't know if it was because I have been saying this for a long time, but he took somebody's good advice and sold. So more to come there. And then what were you telling me earlier today? It's not just Harlow's.
Guy's Blessing is changing hands, and Bowling Acres.
Bowling
is
Acres.
For sale, currently for sale.
Yeah, wow.
Which, it's just all across.
Bowling Acres is a big deal too.
Yeah.
Honest to God. I mean, like, it's just that, like, sprawling location. I mean, I know somebody who works there. It's Candlepin. As a true New England boy, I love Candlepin and I love seeing it, and it reminds me of the often bygone bowling alleys of my youth. The food in there is pretty good. A lot of people really love the pizza.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it did not win in our pizza tournament, but there were people who were, like, strongly lobbying for that as the best pizza in town.
Yeah.
We were doing in our pizza tournament last year.
It certainly didn't lose the contest either.
Yeah.
It was far from the bottom, I will say. And, if you are, say, an ordinary person who is not snobby with your bars, it's one of the only bars in Peterborough with a television, which I love the snobby bars, but sometimes I truly want a TV at the bar. I like sports. I like having it on. Like, it's cool. They got that over at Bowling Acres. And let me tell you, I don't know if you've ever driven by it on, like, a Friday night.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Packed. This place, does a lot of business. And we've got a suggestion from the audience to have BlackRock buy these businesses, the one of our largest funds in our financial system. BlackRock, very, very controversial folks. I wonder if there's any advantage to BlackRock buying it.
To us personally.
Yeah, as a town.
I doubt it, but.
Is BlackRock why the Jack Daniels Inn is now, like, is it Riverside? Just like our recording platform, which is also Riverside. Not affiliated with and I know that somebody's going to chime in that they sold a while ago. I understand that, and they just changed the name to Riverside. I've criticized them directly about that, so I'm not even just talking shit behind their backs. I was like, great thinking, guys. Riverside, because it's like on the side of I used to live like across the river from them, so I'm very familiar. It's on the side of the river, so we'll call it Riverside. Like, I get changing the name from Jack Daniels because, like, maybe you don't want people to think that, like, everyone there is just swilling cheap bourbon, but actually it's not bourbon because it's not made in Kentucky, right? Isn't that true? It's Tennessee. It's Tennessee. Sorry, whiskey people out there. As you can see, a tequila man, but I don't think it's technically bourbon if it's made in Tennessee. But in any case, this cheap bourbon-like American whiskey. Maybe you don't want that associated with your lodging there. I understand that, but Riverside, you could ask like the Chat GBT or whatever for a name and whatever it says would be better than Riverside. I mean, come on. Yes, exactly. They might give you something in another language. Still better. They should call it Simpari Fus. Would be a better. It's intriguing. People are like, "What's Simpari Fus? What's going on over there? It looks like a happening place." They do. They're pretty lit up, And in that area too, especially if you're across the river, late at night, Peterborough's a quiet town. Lit up that place, right? So you give it a cool name like Simpari Fus or whatever, and people are gonna be like, "What is happening there?"
Probably Ukrainian.
So we're not going to get into that today. But yeah, Harlow's selling, bowling alley selling, Gaia's Blessing, our local spiritual, new age
shop?
metaphysical ephemera shop, which is a lovely place. I'm not joking. They have not lost the mandate of heaven. I do go in there sometimes for supplies. Lovely place. I liked the 2 owners ago. I like the current owner, and now there's new owners. Can't say if I like them yet. I don't know who they are, but I probably will like them.
But still, and the changing names, it's all just like a lot of change.
A lot of change happening. But that needs to happen. And I'm sure I've said it on this. Oh yeah, the TV church. That's a good point.
Yes, I was just thinking that too. Yeah, the Next Level Church. They're closing up shop.
Gone. Closed up.
They're gone. Okay.
Yeah. Now accusations of like bullying, bad behavior, and maybe some money stuff too. So the funny thing about that though is that there was a couple of posts in the Facebook groups about this, and people posted links to the story of these accusations and part of why the church fell apart. And I'm sorry, dude, if you're out there, maybe there's a side of the story that's yours. Come on the program, we'll let you tell it. But like my first impression looking at this is like, look at this fucking guy. Like he looks like. Speaking of Atlantic City, like I was in Atlantic City once for a bachelor party, and this dude came out of nowhere, out of this little alley that was like invisible. Like it was like he stepped out of a shadow and gave us cards to go to a strip club. We did go to it. And that's what this guy looks like. He's like, he's going to sell you a fake Rolex. I'm like, I mean.
Do you think that we should turn the church into a strip club?
It has been suggested.
That was a question on the Peterborough page about what it should become.
Yep.
Was a strip club one of the options?
It was discussed. I don't know if so. This is a story that I'm not super familiar with, and perhaps there's some. No more helicopter egg drop either from this. They were the ones who did that. Very interesting gimmick that they did. I'm curious to know what that cost. I would think about doing it. Was it Next Level who had the balloons that we liked?
Yeah.
Okay, so we said we're doing this, guys. We're doing this next year. So last year at Children of the Arts Day, and you know what? They were lovely people. So I don't mean to impugn anybody who goes there or anything like that. They were very nice, but they had their tent, Next Level Church, next to our Go Monadnock Underground tent, and they were like the hottest tent because they had a helium tank and they were giving out balloons that said Next Level. We're doing it. We said that last year. We're like, I don't care. We're just going to drop the money and get some effing branded balloons. And we looked it up. You looked it up, right? It's not even that much money, right?
That's my memory.
Yeah, so we'll find out. But we're going to pull this off. So we are taking over the balloons from these folks. Hell, if we could afford it, or if we had donors or something like that, I would get a helicopter and drop some shit out of it. It doesn't have to be for Easter. We can do it any old time.
Just cover the town with eggs.
We should do leaflets like they used to do in like World War II, like when they were about to like bomb a town or something like that. Like I want a helicopter to fly over Peterborough and drop some leaflets. Like Ivy Van, don't run again. Another person who maybe never had the mandate of heaven. No offense, lovely woman. But yeah, so
We could drop eggs with messages in them and have like the best.
oh, that would be cool. And you know what? We could even do like Easter egg hunt eggs, so that there's no chance of them breaking.
That's what. I was
Yeah.
thinking of. The
Did they drop? So I never really knew. Did they drop like real eggs, or were they?
I just, in my imagination, they were like raw eggs. That they were just like.
Yeah, that's sort of, or somewhere in the middle, it could have been like hard-boiled painted eggs, but that they're not attached to a parachute or anything, so they just like land. It's like smack on the ground, like you don't know. You're like walking around downtown, like Depot Square or something, and like comes and you're like, oh, how pretty. Colored eggs would almost hit me. So they're gone already. They very quickly that happened. We had yeah, you can't join. Yeah, you can. You can still join. But the anyways, a couple people dropped the bad factual news though that like there actually is already a plan. Like I think someone's trying to save the church building and use it for something. So not all of our ideas are precluded, but they're subdividing the land that it's on, and it's going to be parceled out and sold. So I think that there's already a plan for that. But what I was going to say before about the strip club thing, and this is something that like the natives here know a lot more about than I do, but I think it was tried. I think someone tried to put a strip club here. I sort of
like vaguely remember hearing about this story, but I don't know any details.
It's interesting. I've never been a really big like strip club guy. I don't, not to go too far into it, but I don't know why I would pay someone to tease me. I'm not after being teased. I'd rather get off. But anyways, and that costs too much. So it's not my thing really, but I feel like we don't hear about strip clubs in general very much. I mean, there's not that many in New Hampshire. That's probably part of it.
Are there like laws about it?
I don't know. I mean, there's one in, I think it's technically Bedford. So Bedford allows a strip club. I mean, it's way off on the edge of. If it's still Bedford, it's like it might be over the border into Merrimack, which would make more sense because Merrimack is the kind of town that just let the strip clubs come in. I had a lot of friends in Merrimack growing up, and no offense, I went to Merrimack's prom as a high schooler, actually, and so lovely people, but it's that kind of town where they're cool with that. So it might be in Merrimack. Maybe we got an idea from the audience. Maybe we could rebrand it as a cultural dance center. Perhaps. So I guess that was tried once, and obviously it didn't find a lot of favor. Yeah. And I have to say, I'm sorry, a lot of people don't like me for this, but like.
Oh, that's what the guy was calling the strip club.
Oh, was it really? Oh, so it was tried. That approach was tried. Very slick. Very slick. Is Dan still around? Can we find this guy? I want to meet the guy who tried to open a strip club in New Mexico. All right. We'll hunt him down.
Interview him.
We'll hunt him down. I hope he realized his dreams in the Southwest. But Dan Kingary, cool. Oh, he ran for president. Wow. Okay, he should be easy to find if he ran for president. Yeah, we'll look him up. That's great. Yeah, strip clubs for all. Well, I just believe in the freedom of someone to have one if they want, and to go to one if they want. I think it's freedom, right? So, but it's also the freedom of the town to deny it. So there's multiple things at play. So it's okay. I'm okay. Probably a majority of the town doesn't want it, and I democracy. It's cool. But props to him for trying. Yes, strip clubs for all who want it. Yes, repurposing democratic slogans. Love it.
I had a friend when I lived in Portland, Oregon, who really wanted to work at a strip club too, to strip.
Did they refuse them?
No, I mean she did it. But,
okay.
It was, but like.
Just like they turned her down.
I was just saying, like on both sides, strip clubs for all who want.
Sure. Oh yeah. No. Absolutely. So, absolutely. Yeah, but I am impressed by a man who tried to get a strip club in Peterborough called a cultural dance center. That's pretty
That's
awesome.
pretty awesome.
Cheers to that. Um, what I was gonna say though is that like so this post was made by someone who was like what should we do? It was not a totally serious post. It was like what should we do with this space? And so many people commented sports complex. We should have like an exercise and fitness complex.
People are mad about the hospital getting rid of that.
It wasn't those people. It was people with kids. It was people who want kids and adults. But it wasn't. It was a very different. It was all young people suggesting this.
Oh, wow.
Not the Bond Wellness Center people who I haven't seen morning in a long time. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people really miss the Bond Wellness Center, but.
But there's like 3 gyms now, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
There's
the
gyms.
and
Another
another
fitness,
new one.
and then there's the existing performance health.
Yeah. So I
It's
think
called.
there's three now.
But they want so Swansea has a place like this called the Fieldhouse, and it's a gigantic. It's like what the community. It's what the people who like the community center imagine that it is, but it
Right.
isn't.
Right.
And it's they've got multiple gyms, and you can play like indoor soccer and indoor anything you can think of sports wise. They probably have a climbing wall, any of that shit. So it's like it's not like a gym to work out at. It's like a place to have leagues doing things and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, guys. Please use your imaginations and think of something to do besides physical activity. I like to work out. I really do. I believe in that. I feel crappy when I don't have physical activity, which is a lot of the time in the winter, even though I work out inside. But anyways, but for Christ's sakes, when we have an opportunity, like if we're using our imaginations to, think of, and if we could have anything in that space, and it's like, you guys want a place where they have like indoor soccer? Like what the fuck? Like we are so obsessed with like running and like 5Ks. Like this is how people have fun now. And that isn't what fun is. It's okay to feel good from physical activity. I do feel good from physical activity. I just understand that that's not what fun is. Fun, not always, but a well-balanced, well-rounded diet of fun requires some vice. And we could use a little bit more vice. Maybe not a strip club. Maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle. Oh wow, we've got links. This is great. There are yes, we got a comment. There are better places than a fitness center for hot singles to meet. Yes, there are. There definitely are. We don't have a dog park yet. We don't even have Harlow's really. But anything is better than. Well, so here, the thing with a fitness center now too is there's the whole controversy because of like I don't know where the bizarre directions that we've gone in the society, which is that like so. Women understandably don't like to get ogled at the gym, right? It's a thing people have complained about over the years, and that's totally understandable. No criticism there. But that notion has led to this society where it's like it isn't cool to say anything. Like if you were to run into someone at the gym, oh, Pancho's Pizza, yes, the hot chicks do go there. That's what I'm hearing, anyways. They probably play pool on the pool tables in Pancho's. So that's cool. We can meet people in Pancho's. But like you're not allowed to say anything or flirt with anybody at the gym because like you could be a harasser or just talking to somebody or looking like they're like I've heard people so I like to work out alone, so that's why I do it at home. But I've heard people who are big gym culture people be like, I don't look in the direction of any women because they're just going to assume I'm staring at them, even if I'm just looking straight ahead while I'm working out. And that's a little too far. So nobody's meeting anybody at the gym. They'd rather do Tinder. Soulless. Just like running a lot. Also soulless.
So we might need another grocery store in Peterborough for hot.
Since we know that people go to grocery stores. Yes, but see, you go down that road, though, and everybody's like, we should have a Trader Joe's.
Oh right, yeah. No Trader Joe's in the misconnections.
No
I
one meets anybody
It's
at
always
Trader
like
Joe's.
Market Basket.
Listen, guys, I have been in or around the supermarket industry all my life. Trader Joe's is a fucking gimmick, okay? Like, and you are hoodwinked. Trader Joe's sucks, okay? Trader Joe's is good if you're buying dip, like literally, like as in like dip that you put chips in. They have great dip. That's all they have. We have in Peterborough a phenomenal natural food store if you're looking for all natural organic foods, and it has like literally like 100 times the diversity of inventory that Trader Joe's has. Trader Joe's sucks. All the food is frozen. Like, fuck Trader Joe's. Like, I don't understand why any of you like it at all. Again, unless you're going in there as a novelty for some dip. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But yes, people want Trader Joe's to come to a town of 6,000 people that already has another natural food store and a regular grocery store and a small grocery store. Royce.
And another natural food store.
And a second natural food store attached to Royce. You know, and I just, I'm not even a big economics guy, and you just have to do like simple math on that. Like a chain store cannot make profit that way.
I don't know.
Yes, no, I know. But it was in that same post. There was like almost as many people who said fitness center said Trader Joe's.
Mm.
Please, can we get a Trader Joe's? Trader Joe's sucks. The mirrors on the wall at Poncho's? Or where are the mirrors? Or at the gym. Oh, the gym. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Angles. Yeah, it's all about the angles. Yeah. No, I'm with you. They're not just for gym selfies. Yeah. No, totally. So, a lot going on. Boring winter. Anybody who's subscribed to our emails knows that like a lot of these weekends have been dragging. Hasn't been a lot going on. But we are, despite what you see outside, there's a bunch of bullshit snow out there. It's coming.
Yeah, this week. I mean, I've sent out the email today. A little more fun. There's quite a bit more music. There's a couple of art openings this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt like things were picking up steam.
And that would be timely for that to happen. Yeah. So I'm happy about that. And I have a feeling that it's going to be a pretty good summer. I think it's going to be interesting. We've got a lot of change going on, things being dynamic. And, I feel comfortable saying this, but, like, even though we haven't done, like, an official announcement, but, like, Children of the Arts Day, we're doing an after party of the arts. And we're going to have the whole downtown on board, and it's going to be, the party's going to continue. Because I know, after all these years I've been going there, Children of the Arts Day, a lot of fun. Everybody's having a good time. Some of us are secretly drinking. We have great hats on. There's a wonderful parade.
More Kentucky Derby like every year.
Every year it gets more Kentucky Derby. Like people have been adopting the hat thing. They really have. It's starting to catch on. Okay, but the parade's over by 2 and the whole thing's over by 3, and the whole town is just like. And everybody that I know, parents and non-parents alike, maybe not the kids, but we don't make plans around the kids. We make plans around the adults. And every adult that I know wants that party to continue, and we never have any place to go. There's never any focal point. There's never any even if people have to go home and like feed the little beasts or whatever, and then go back out, right? Never happens. Can't be done. No visit. Downtown, starting at 3 o'clock, that's where the party's at. We've got a bunch of people involved in this already. There will be more signing on. You will see graphics and announcements soon. That is, I think, May 20th. And we're taking that day back because a certain spiteful someone who feels he was owed more by this town took his music festival, which used to be held, I would remind everyone, every year in June. He took his ball and left home and went to Keene, has his festival there and moved it from June to Children of the Arts Day. And it's 2 years in a row. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. I don't believe that's an accident. I just don't. And I won't believe it. So fuck that. That's bullshit. We're going to do our own thing. It's not going to be a little hipster indie music festival. Not saying any names. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I won't. I'm already started for you, buddy. Yeah. We get Tanya Harding on it, yes. Jeff Galooly. That's right. Oh, man. Too much fun. Too much fun around here. So what else? We got any other callers? I know we've got a few people that are still in the chat here, and another few people that are watching live on Facebook. We would love to hear from you. Try again, Blair. We'll see if we can get you on here. I didn't see a pop up for you. Yeah, we got a couple animated people in the audience already. Oh, here we go. We got a question.
Oh, geez, my lights. Can you hear me all right?
Maybe. All right. Hey, welcome, Blair.
Can you hear me okay, or?
And now, yeah, it took a second for you to pop up, but you're there now.
No, sorry. Can you see me all right? Am I sitting in the dark?
You look artistic.
Yeah, good. That was what I planned for.
Yeah, maybe a little mysterious.
Hey, congratulations on 52 episodes.
Thank you.
I love you guys. Look forward to it almost every week.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you as well.
So,
and for those of you who don't know, Blair is the founder of the fucking uncensored Peterborough, New Hampshire group, which is free of the tyranny of those on the other side. We participate in both groups, but the uncensored group is more successful than any of the other alternative groups that have happened in the past. And, it's at least like a seventh of the membership of the other, which is pretty good considering that, that's the one that came in right at the right time and, gobbled everybody. So it's a great place. If you're not a part of it, look for Peterborough, New Hampshire Uncensored on Facebook. And, you can see us, swear and all that other stuff.
yeah, and my co-administrator, chimney sweeping deleter. No, it's actually dryer duct deleter.
Nice. Dryer duct deleter, huh?
The ads.
Oh, the ads for the dryer duct cleaning.
Oh yeah, right. Yes. That's such a weird scam.
I don't understand it. So, yeah. What were we talking about?
Gyms and churches and
all that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, after party.
The thing in the spring there. Why don't you adults only after 8 bands?
Yep.
I think you can pull that off.
That's the direction that is the direction that we're going in. We're going to start with 3 to 8 for the first after party. We will have some bands. We'll have some drinking. Maybe not, people can bring their kids if they want to, but it will be an adult friendly atmosphere for those who are afraid of children. And but that's where we want to go. Is we want this to be we want to extend this into the night and really make this the big festival day of Peterborough Spring.
Do it. What do you need from me? Do you need any poll down at City Hall?
Sure. Yes, we need the whole planning board behind us.
Yeah.
Can we get part of the planning board behind us?
You'll maybe one, maybe 2. I'm sure Bill's on board.
Yeah, no, Bill's cool. Bill's always a big supporter.
Yeah, part.
Yeah,
all we asked for. Part of the planning board.
Exactly. He generally likes our ideas. He helps us out. Yeah, I mean, you could always, some other people, make vague statements that the new.
I just lost you. Damn it. Well, I wonder if I lost you. I'll try to get back on.
That is coming out of your headphones.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, all right. So, sorry, everybody. We are back. This is a disaster. Thank you for that. Yes, it is. It is a disaster. Blair, you can call back in, and we'll put you back up. Sorry, but literally my laptop just died, which is an elementary mistake that would have been avoided if we had producer Jimmy. But
Position still open.
yeah,
Come make sure that all
position
the cords are plugged in.
position still available. As you can see, Blair got an echo. Is trying to silence. Yes, big whale oil is. That's what's really happening to those whales. Is they're washing up on the shore. See, nobody pays attention to what they do with the whales afterwards, and I think that they're stripping the fat.
Yep, boiling it down.
I don't know how much you guys know about whaling. There is a phenomenal. It's a PBS documentary that is heavily based on. It's a book called something the Essex by Nathaniel Philbrick, historian, and I say that because he was heavily featured as a talking head in the show, but it's mainly about the same topics as his book has, and he. That's where I learned the fact about maps, about how we know the coastlines of the world largely because of whalers, and they describe what you do when you get the whale.
I've read about this.
Yeah.
It's very intense.
Very intense.
A lot of hard work.
A lot of hard work and like guts and blood and fluids and fat and like crazy.
It's like boiling vats of fat
on a boat, like in the middle of the ocean,
Yeah.
Crazy. And in those days, the way that it would work is everybody on the boat was based, like in a sense, you could almost call it a co-op. I mean, not really, but like everyone working on the boat wasn't working for wages. They had a share of what the boat of the boat's revenue, basically. And you would get a smaller share based on lack of seniority. So if you were around for a while, you could increase it. Obviously, there were investors who were not on the boat who owned shares. So it's not like it's not a true just like co-op, like leftist, anarchist, whatever. The workers own the boat and do everything else. Not quite like that, but that is it was all profit sharing. Oh, here's Blair's back with yee.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back, Blair.
What did you do? Run out your battery? Oh, it's killing me.
Say that again.
I got an echo and it's
killing me. Hopefully not everybody's hearing the echo, but maybe it could be a consequence of our laptop snafu here.
There. Anyhow, so in the spring, we're on it.
We're on it. Another thing we're hoping to do from a party standpoint, because that is what we need, not more games, but we need festivity and celebration and fullness of life and like passion and stuff like that. So we are hoping that this year to kind of give a little extra energy to First Fridays when those resume as well. So like think of our after party idea, but in miniature. Obviously, we can't pull that off every Friday, but really trying to make that a living thing with the bands, with theatrical performances. I guess McDowell is coming back now. They stopped because of COVID, but they're coming down to Bass Hall every first Friday with a resident presenting the work that they're working on.
And that's actually starting this Friday. They're,
Oh, yeah.
They're
Oh, cool.
returning it, and it's a saxophonist.
Oh, neat.
Who is kicking it off again.
That sounds like fun. Maybe we should go to that. It's in the email, which I would know if I had read the Tuesday email. Sorry. I was busy setting up the studio.
Right.
But yeah, fun things in store. We want to have actual fun.
Not just, web fun,
Yeah, not just web fun.
fake fun.
Yeah, not just web fun or like physical health fun, or therapy fun, I do think a lot of people in this town think that therapy is fun, but like actual everybody having and not the tentative should we feel guilty about having this fun because there's injustice in the world? No, you shouldn't. No, the only that's what the injustice wants. That's what the terrorists want is for you to stop having fun because you think that things are bad in the world. No, it is our responsibility to live amongst the pain and the sorrow and to live well.
Oh, Jonah says we got a
no! All right, we got a problem here. Okay, tell you what, you guys, we only have one mic, Jonah. We're using the same one. Tell you what, guys, hang tight for 1 second. We're not going to close the studio. We're just going to leave it for a second and come and adjust our settings and come back. So hold tight. Blair, you just stay there and you will not get kicked out.
What, you want me to tell a joke? Damn it, Echo. Fuck's wrong.
Okay, we did figure out the problem on that, and it was related. You can probably hear us now. You can't hear me. That is a ridiculous word. For some reason, it won't play guest audio. Um, okay. Can you talk again, Blair, or are you talking right now? Oh, he's gone. Okay. Yeah. Well, sorry about the issues, guys. We appreciate you bearing with us. We are just obviously learning about this wonderful live studio setup that we have going on here. And we have 9 people in the audience. Might try to make a law. What were we talking? What we're gonna make a law about? Fun, yeah. Suffering, wailing.
Oh, still
yeah.
Blair. Bummer.
That is too bad. We did switch up the mic. It was using my headphones as a mic briefly, but yeah. So, anyways, hopefully some in the audience can hear us without an echo. I'm not really sure. We're gonna keep this up for just another 15, 20 minutes or so probably, and then I think we'll wrap. But honestly, I would call this enough of a success that I want to do this once a month or so. All right, Jared's calling in. All right, Jared, I can't promise that we'll be able to hear you, so bear with us for a second. Don't drop, okay? Okay, try to talk, Jared.
Yo.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me?
The audience can hear you, but we can't. So 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
We're going to let you host for a minute, Jared. Hold on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so this has been the plan all along. I was just going to host this show. I was going to take it over. Um, yeah, they're killing the whales. Orsted, big windmill, big electric, big energy. What they're doing is they're doing seismic testing on the ground floor of the ocean, and it's fucking up all of the sonar communications of the whales, and the juveniles are getting lost in the pack. And the pack continues on their route, because it's a major
All
seafaring
right.
lane. So the juveniles get lost, and the juveniles separate from the pack, and they starve to death, and they wash up on the beach. But that's big energy, Orsted. But I can't talk about it anyway. I think they're back.
Okay. Yep. I kind of caught the end of that. So we're talking about who's destroying. Oh, we can't talk about. Okay, we won't. We won't. We won't.
No, I have a question.
Yes.
My question that I called in was about: do you think there are instances or circumstances? I mean, okay, I'm not even going to phrase it that much. Does smoking weed make somebody less? Um, does it lessen their integrity as a person, as you know what I mean, in general?
Integrity, I would answer a flat no.
Okay,
Absolutely not. I don't think that it
I guess I do have to
compromises.
qualify it a little bit because I was thinking about how with legalization in a lot of states now, basically, if you're a heavy weed smoker, you're never allowed to operate a car ever, technically. Um, anytime,
Because testing is unreliable, and if you're a heavy weed smoker, you always have it in your system.
right? So, like, even if you were even if you were driving in a car and somebody slammed into you behind you and they died and it was their fault, you automatically get blood tested because that's the state rules and all that, and you would go to jail for like vehicular manslaughter because you might have smoked weed yesterday.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah,
it's not even the
you would
legal
need a
sense.
very good
That's
lawyer to
one
get you out of
phrasing of it. But I was thinking about like like you could never make a mistake at work, but you could input something wrong one time. But if you didn't smoke weed, it would just be a normal foible of data input or something. But if you're a known weed smoker, it's like, oh, like
Test
it's
him.
like that old trope of like, oh, is he tripping out? Like Woody Harrelson's up there smoking doobies, talking about anti-vax conspiracies on SNL monologues. Like he's all high, like you know.
Yes, I do know. I do know. And one thing I actually can say about this that gives me a little bit of hope for the future on this subject is we are starting to see the rise of a type of testing for THC intoxication that's a cheek swab. And the cheek swab, from everything that I've read and seen, is actually a much better indicator. It's not like a like it's not looking for THC particles in your system. Like whatever it's testing is a much more accurate measure of are you high right this minute. And again, that could be a problem for some because for a heavy weed smoker, you can smoke a lot and not actually be high. You're just sort of at your baseline level, and so you're not intoxicated in terms of
That's the second part. That really factors into the thought behind my question too, is because like with weed being so legitimized in so many ways, especially it's falling down that health and wellness kind of influencer kind of lane where it's like, oh, like I'm gonna micro dose crap. Like it's it's accepted for like my kid's preschool teacher to like be doing ketamine, right? But like
sure.
you couldn't
Depression.
like if she
Yeah.
was like drinking alcohol or something, you know what I mean? Like she's drinking a bottle, like whatever. I don't know. I don't mean to go down that lane, but like with cannabis being kind of legitimized like that, it's like what's intoxicated, right? Like I don't know.
I
I
completely
smoke
agree.
weed forever, and everything I do, like, am I doing it lesser? I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, no, I agree. And and weed is a funny thing because its effects do vary so widely, right? I mean, like as a frequent weed smoker, like you just said, I allegedly, I mean, I am, I should say, let's be if we're being completely blunt about it, cannabis is legal in the state of New Hampshire if you are a middle-aged, middle-class white male. Which I'm not saying that that's right, but I am in that category, and so nobody's going to bother me about marijuana. We all know people, right, who like smoked a lot in their teen years and early 20s, and like they hit like 25, 26, 27, and it suddenly started making them paranoid, and they hated it, and they quit, right? And then there's some people who can just sort of continue on an endless stream, and it always connects with them, and always it never has that effect, and which has personally been my experience. I always laugh when people say that marijuana makes you dumb, because, like, I mean, I know I'm a little bit arrogant, but I'm not an idiot, and I should be if that were true. But then, though, there are those other examples, right, where there are people who clearly, like, man, like I don't want to use the R word here, which I almost did, but like, something happened to you, right? And is that the pot? Was that going to happen to that person anyway? Were they maybe on the fence and the pot like knocked them into it? Like, who knows? I don't know. But so it varies widely, person to person. And the big thing when it comes to the testing and the laws around it, as you said, some of it's going to vary state by state. But like in the workplace, for example, the biggest culprit of this at this point in things is federal contracts. So like any company that basically does business with the federal government is more or less required in some way, shape, or form to drug test their employees. And as anybody who does drugs know, those drug tests are only going to catch you if you smoke pot, or if you have enough of a habit to an addictive drug like heroin that you're doing it daily. But all the other drugs are out of your system, all of them, in like 48 hours. So you have to catch someone right afterwards, except for weed, which, if you're a heavy smoker, especially if you're fat, it's going to be in your system for 6 months if you stop tomorrow. Ridiculous. Federal law. Now, the feds are signaling, though, that because there's enough of a critical mass of these states that are legalizing, and what the states want is banking. And because basically all these dispensaries have to be cash only, because no bank that crosses state lines is willing to run afoul of the federal law. So these businesses, which are now legitimate by state law, can't bank like Kanye, and they there's lobbying now, though, against that, like real lobbying, and that's going to change. And I think the testing is going to change. And in fact, I'm not going to use any names because that probably would be bad for this person, but like I have it on good authority that there's manufacturing facilities in the state of New Hampshire that have federal contracts that have begun switching to cheek swab based testing, and the feds seem to be cool with it. And so if that passes muster, and that is, I'm sure it's probably more expensive right now, but I'm sure the cost will come down over time. And as that becomes cheaper in a mass way, I think that you will see employment drug tests that are urine or blood or hair based drop to almost zero. You're only gonna, and eventually I think the federal testing requirement will go away. Driving is more nebulous because there is always going to be that, the fact that it affects people so differently, and there's the argument that if you have a high tolerance, you're never really high. Devil's advocate, alcoholics could also make that argument in some ways too. Is that like, oh, I'm never really drunk because I'm always drunk, and I'm not impaired. And we have agreed as a society that that's not okay. But at the same time, there's also the broader question of, does cannabis, for most people, actually impair your driving at all? And studies do not line up on this, that you can find data to support your position on either side of that argument very easily. So I don't have an easy answer for you.
I like it. I like all your attempts at it. Thank you. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll sign off, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. It's nice to see you, Jared. Good friend of the pod, friend of
Wonderful.
Underground. You know, he
Oh my
appears in
God.
many of these titles. Many of these titles. Jared's in. Jared's in these. Yes, one of our earliest, best writers. One of my favorites, Jared Radke.
If we're allowed to say that.
He was on under Jared this time.
No, if we're allowed to pick favorite writers.
Oh, yeah. We love you all. We really do. But, like, I mean, Jared has written a lot of pieces for us and has an extremely unique style. And I am very partial to it. I remember, I think we might have talked about this before, but I don't care. I'll talk about it again. Like, I read the first piece he ever submitted, like, very early on. I'm usually, like, I read pieces and, you know, we accept a majority of the things that we get, but not everything. We do reject a lot of pieces. And usually I know pretty much right away, like, if I'm going to say yes or no to this thing. And I read this and I was confounded. And I had to send it to Zoe and I said, you know, I think there's something here, but it's also crazy and I might be crazy. So and you tell me, she was like, no, there's something, this is fucking cool. You know, yeah.
Rick Derringer and Grandma.
Yeah, Rick Derringer and Grandma. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, come on in. We've had a decent amount. We've actually had close to 10 audience members ever since we lost, we cut out. Yeah. We attracted more people in the second round. So thanks for coming. Ben says hello. Ben, would you like to ask a question? Well, we'll see. You can call in if you want. But yeah, there's a bunch of you on here, and it doesn't seem to let us, like, to see names. Yeah, Enoch says go for it, Ben. You can't say no to a dolphin. Yeah, that is funny. It does not. Yeah, it's just this everyone chat. Who the hell is here? What? Like, or what if I click this? Nope. That doesn't do anything. Huh. Yeah, that's a weird feature that it lets us have this audience, but we can't see who the audience is. But probably there's a way to do that, and we are just being idiots. And I don't mean to say we. I don't mean to impugn you there. I am being an idiot. This was my responsibility, was figuring this out. So.
Can you bring that chat back?
Yeah, I'll bring it. Yeah, sorry. I really want to figure this out though. Who the hell is here?
Let me text Jimmy here.
Ben doesn't want to come on. Does anybody in the audience want to come and say hello? We would love to give you good answers, good advice. Oh, cool. Oh, we've got none other than the Honorable Jonah Wheeler.
Don't start, Chris.
No,
it's good to see you. I just had to come on and say that you guys have been sitting in incredibly uncomfortable chairs for this whole time. I just
so relaxed though. I mean, yours is metal.
Okay.
Well, it's just the fact that I'm having to like sit halfway off of it.
Yeah.
But I'm fine.
See, on Facebook it looks better than that though, so I wouldn't be too paranoid.
You're handling it well.
Yeah. So hey, what's
you
up,
got
buddy? Jonah, for those of you who live under a rock, is the representative, one of two, but the representative of Peterborough at the State House, Hillsborough 33. Freshman, so he's a couple months in, right? How is it going? Impressions? Is it having a good time?
It's a good time. I don't know if that's how I would describe it, but it's very interesting, and I do enjoy it. I will say that I enjoy it as I enjoyed school. It's sort of that same social dance of going around and building relationships and such, but
learning shit.
It's a little bit exactly, and you're definitely learning shit. I mean, I'm on the criminal justice committee. We're there 3 days a week. You're learning a lot, but it's also got some serious flaws, as we all know, and people there are pretty vicious. They can be, and but it's interesting. I like it. I'm there a lot. I'm working a lot, and I feel like I'm putting I'm putting a good effort in, so we'll see what happens in the next 2 years. But
one thing I'd like to talk about is that schedule. What is the like length of the legislative session, and so like how what are your days like? How often are you required to be there?
well, the biennium, well, sessions, it's kind of got some structure to it, but it's the session happens January to April-ish, June. We start to get the budget in April, and then just about May is when the official business finishes up, and then there's some procedural committees of conference and some other stuff that happens in June, and we do some final votes then. And then in the summer, we're off, and then back around November in the fall, depending on what committee you're on. And then the tier below that is all dependent on what committee you're on. I mean, if you're on Fish and Game, you could be there one day a month maybe, because they have, I think, one bill there, so they don't get scheduled as much as someone who's on Education, which is 5 days a week, basically 4 or 5 days a week. You're there starting 8 to 9 and going to 4 or 5, sometimes 6 p.m. at night, every day of the week, doing public hearings, and then after the public hearings are done, doing executive session, which for a committee like Education can last for a few hours. So it is definitely a full-time job, even though they only pay you $200 a term. It's definitely a full-time job. The whole aspect of, it's a volunteer position. A lot of the committees require a lot of work, and people are there. I mean, my committee has me there 3 days a week. We're there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we're all in executive session now. We've all but finished our public hearings, so we're voting on the bills and pushing them out to House session. But after you've finished up with all the bills that are before your committee, then you're pretty much all set until the Senate does their crossover and we get all the Senate bills, and then you vote on, and you do the hearings for those and vote on those, and then we have another round of sessions, and the budget is somewhere in between those two, and then we're pretty much all set. But it's you're there a lot if you're putting in the right.
I was hoping you would go in that direction, because I wanted to point it out that one of the great things about having Jonah in office, but that is not easy. So I mean, Jonah's one of the few like young and not wealthy, or at least earning a really good income in a semi-independent way, that's able to serve in the legislature. And he's lucky enough to work for an organization that supports him being in office, and so allows for that, right? I mean, I don't speak for you, but that's
well, sort of. I mean, I do work full time for Rights and Democracy, so it is definitely a lot. But a lot of my work is remote, so I'm able to be at the State House and do that work from the computer, or drive down 93 to Nashville really quickly, which is where most of my work is spaced out of. So I've been able to luckily find a balance between a full-time job and being in the State House. Sort of, both of them are full-time, and I'm finding myself without any time. But that's what I signed up for, though, and it's absolutely totally necessary. But that's what you have to do if you're a young person getting in office. You're either doing school full-time, which my friend Heath Howard in Stratford County is doing school full-time and serving in the legislature, or Cam Kenny, he's in his second year of law school. He's doing the legislature full-time, and then you'll see him on his computer in the ante room during session and between votes or something like that, and he's writing away on his law professor thing. So people make it work. I mean, they find a way to serve their committee and their community, and that's a really admirable. It's admirable, definitely.
It is, but
even if you disagree with
me, is what's illustrated by the fact that Hillsborough 33, we have 2 representatives, and one is Jonah, a community organizer, and one is a railroad baron. I'm kidding, because that's a
well, but I think he would accept that.
No, there's nothing against Peter. Peter's a nice guy.
He is a great guy.
What's that?
Peter is a great guy.
I like Peter a lot. It's he does own the only railroad in this area, which is a train that runs from one town to another carrying rocks back and forth. But I think that as far as 2023 goes, that is a railroad. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, he owns the railroad. He's a railroad baron, I suppose. I mean, he's out there. He's definitely an interesting man. You know, he's got a lot of stories. He's been in the legislature for 22 years, and I'm the first person that he's served with that he's carpooled with. So he's finally getting an opportunity to open up a little bit, and he has a friend in Peterborough. Even if we disagree on some issues, he's definitely appreciative that there's some cordial attitude going on between the two of us, and there is. I think we've found. Peter says that I'm his adopted grandson now, so we're in good spirits.
And that is one of the things that I like about both you and Peter is that you both possess a trait that I think is very rare these days, which is that you're comfortable with being close with people who have a different point of view and knowing that you can agree on some things, but you don't have to be lockstep on everything, and you can still carpool together. And
well, absolutely. I mean, you got to disagree without being disagreeable. I mean, in the State House, that's, I think, the most important lesson you can learn if anyone out there is wanting to run. Peter is on Division I of Finance, and he has to work with some of the farthest right people who are incredibly intelligent, right, and present decent questions about the budget that Peter has to sort of put aside their public perception and just sort of work with them as a human being, and that's how you got to do it in the State House. It's you got to disagree without being disagreeable. Otherwise, I mean, there's no working around partisan behavior, and you don't get past this sort of you'll just butt heads. And when it comes to something like the Sununu Center, which is a crisis. I mean, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of cases of people who are reporting just horrible behavior, and I mean, that's something that needs to be addressed. And if there was partisan butting heads on an issue like that, then what happens to the kids that are in the Sununu Center right now, or a number of the issues that we're dealing with in the State House? Like, sometimes you just have to put aside. You might not like the person at all, and that person yesterday might have told you that you're a horrible person who has terrible morals, but you're still on the same committee, so you got to work with them. But I will say, though, just to that point, that hasn't been the case. People have been very cordial on both sides. So
that's very nice. I think that also you alluded to this, that and you and I have talked about this many times, and it's the approach that we tried to bring to our political debates that we have hosted in 2022, is the idea that there's the cordiality aspect and the professionality aspect, right? But there's also the idea that let's actually, when we talk about these issues, throw all the pieces on the game board, from the partisan talking points off, and let's start from scratch and actually cut to the core of the issue and have to talk about it and defend it. Not because it's my team, not because or even in your case, I don't know how it is, but I know how legislatures work, right? And there's leadership that has agendas, and they want the caucus voting a certain way, and that's part of how caucuses work, and that's fine, all well and good. But when we talk about these things and when we work on these things together, we have to be able to, even if we are going to take the partisan line, construct that argument on our own from the bottom and be able to talk on that level, and that's a real conversation. And so I appreciate that you're willing to have that.
No, exactly. I mean, and that's why I appreciated your guys' debates, and I joke, but I do think it's true about you guys having gotten me across the finish line with that debate, because without those conversations having happened, then it's, well, this is just a 19-year-old who wants to be state rep, and it's well, let's just actually have a conversation about the vision that we're looking for in a state rep for Peterborough, and then that deepens the conversation, and you actually get to the core of why people are running. And when people see all three of us on stage, they can see why we're the vision that we present, and whether it's an election for state house or planning board, that's what actually gets the conversation going. And like you said, I mean, even if it's a partisan at the end of it, at least you structured your debate and you had that foundation to be able, what you're talking about. You're not just spitting talking points out. Like you've actually
and
thought
and
about.
that's how I want people to win elections, right? Even if
Right.
they're not my candidate, right? I want people to win elections because they said something to the people who vote that persuaded them that they were a good candidate. Just you know what I mean? Not because they took the right line, not you know what I mean, but because they had to stand there and actually make their case, and that the voters liked that case. Again, even if I don't agree with the outcome, that's how I want it to go down. And we can't make that happen
Right.
every time, but sometimes. But this is a good segue. You're not running for town office at all, right? You got too much shit to do.
No, I am not. Sharon did rope me into being an alternate. Sharon and you did rope me into being an alternate on the zoning board. So when I can be an alternate, I am an alternate on the zoning board. But I think that's as far as I can go in terms of my skill. I don't want to run for something and not be able to serve. So,
Yeah, no,
but I will encourage you, Chris, to run for zoning board because, like I said, because
they're
if
all
someone,
trying to
I
get
think,
me to run. I don't know if I really want to do a campaign, but I don't know. I might put.
well,
my name on it.
do you really need to do a campaign for zoning board? You've got this platform, and you just got to talk to people. You don't have to
Sure.
put signs out
No,
for
sure.
zoning.
Fine, maybe. But where I was going with that though, and this is what I don't want. This is part of why I don't want to run, because I don't want to get in the way of this kind of thing. But maybe there's a middle ground. But anyways, coverage though. We're going to have a bunch of coverage of the races as we did last year, and we'd love for you to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to.
And
Yeah,
like that's why
to
I was
help
hoping
craft some questions.
I was hoping you would say you weren't gonna run, because then you can kind of be part of this, and like maybe you can do some debates with us. Maybe we can have some more informal type forums. That we can experiment with format and shit like that. Like I don't know. I think your voice is important to the conversation, and so I'd love to have you on our side of the aisle for the coverage part of it.
At least for this year. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
for this
kidding.
year. Yeah, no, all bets are off. That's great thing about town meeting is potential contested races every year. So
Exactly.
all bets are
Exactly.
off every year. I might feel differently next year. That's fine. Yeah, I won't. I would never hold you to more than just 1 year. I can make news in this broadcast though. I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I'm going to do it anyway. I forgot about this. I meant to say it earlier. Tyler Ward is running for re-election.
Is he really?
No, nobody knew that. I heard a lot of rumblings.
I heard a lot of he wasn't. Yeah.
He was done.
Yeah.
But
But no one else wants to run for select board, so he has to. So
I asked him the question directly. He did not tell me it was off the record. So from a press standpoint, I didn't violate any ethics. Not that I ever went to like a journalism class in college, but I was at a journalism school. But whatever.
well, Tyler's doing a great job as chair of the select board, and I
Yeah,
think
no,
he
exactly.
would-
I support Tyler. We've been trying to get him on the goddamn program. That was part of the conversation. I was like, Tyler, you got to call in tonight. You can announce you're running for re-election.
And he is one of the original fine hat wearers at Children's
He
America.
absolutely is. Tyler has great hat game. Tyler, you have great hats. You have been a select
A great
board
beard.
member throughout some pretty difficult years in Peterborough, which I know you didn't think you were signing up for, and I appreciate that you're running, because I was like, "Are you running again?" And he said, "Yeah." So he's running again. That's big. That's new news that I think a lot of people don't know.
Here, here,
Maybe if
here.
you run against him, we can have a debate. But
I doubt it. No one else wants to run for select board.
it's been tough the last few years. I don't think it's been an attractive position at all, and I could definitely understand. It is. I would rather be on the zoning board than the select board by a mile. Whatever reservations I have about the zoning board,
Yep.
that's a lot of pressure and not a lot of thanks and a lot of angry people and a lot of issues and money and problems. And the Bills and Tyler, I think, do a pretty good job.
I agree with that. And I think, we're moving into an interesting point. So you got after parties of Children of the Arts going on. I think life is coming back to Peterborough a little bit in this summer. I agree with your analysis of the year. I think this summer should be a pretty good one for the town. I really do feel that. Knock on wood, hopefully.
Knock on wood, but I think so.
Barring some tragic national chaos, I think this will be
even in spite of tragic national chaos.
And we've always talked about that, Chris. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think, and I'll end on this note for good advice, because we're at a couple hours now, so I appreciate you being.
And you've been sitting in these chairs so long. I don't.
Yeah, I know. This is probably about as long as we can stand it, but I would offer the. I can't with a straight face say the word humble, so I won't. Criticism, constructive criticism to the town, that I think that when looking at national tragedies and not letting it dampen our spirits and ruin our experience of the fullness of life, which must go on despite everything. I'm not sure that we performed all that well 2020, 2021. See, maybe at best, that's being charitable. I think it wasn't that great, but we always have the opportunity for redemption in this life, and collectively, that's true as well. And so, the next time, I think I'm so glad Jonah raised that point. The next time something bad does happen, and it will, not because we're living in the apocalyptic times, but because that's part of living on Earth, right? These things are going to happen. But we continue our way of life. We continue to love. We continue to enjoy music. We continue to be active in cultural and civic life. And if you do that, terrorists never win. That is my final piece of good advice from our Good Advice Live call-in show. Thank you for everybody who joined us in the audience.
Well,
came on.
Well, hold on, Chris. Let me just say for 1 second.
Go ahead, yeah.
Because I am on call. I don't want to have the appearance of hiding it all from any controversial votes. I was just sitting here doing some work and listening to your podcast, but I did join, so I figure since this is somewhat of a public forum, I should say this. I did make some controversial votes and have been working a lot and have foregone writing the little explanation that I wanted to write, but I am writing one. So if you're someone out there who's wondering about one of my votes in these last couple of weeks, then I think you can expect something about that in the future. But I'm happy to, if anyone wants to call or talk to me, explain one of those votes. I stand by every one of them and happy to explain the situation. So that's all I had to say.
I'm
glad
you did. I wasn't going to bring it up if you didn't say anything. But all I will say, because I want Jonah to speak for himself, and I'm one of the people who's waiting for the writing. Damn it.
You've been texting me. I know.
I'm familiar with what he's alluding to, and there's people out there who are pissed off at Jonah for a couple of votes, and I would just say, if you're one of the people that's pissed, or if one of the people that's pissed has been yelling at you because they're pissed and they want you to be pissed too, right? There's a good chance you're in one of those camps, right? Hear what he has to say, and listen to his reasoning for the votes that he has taken, because I guarantee you that even if you disagree, you will understand after reading his words that his position comes from a place of good faith, from reason, and from convictions. And I honestly, not to praise rebellion for its own sake, but I think that we should applaud someone who, especially if in his first 2 months of a term, is willing to vote against the tide of like hundreds of people, based on belief, and is able to stand firm in the tide. And so I just would offer to everyone that regardless of how you feel about the issues in question, which Jonah will soon write about, that someone who's willing to do that, that's a really good quality to have in someone that we have in office. And, I don't want to be extreme and say that I would vote for someone just on that basis, regardless of other
Please
things.
don't.
Things they could say. But it's extremely valuable, and I would vote for someone that I disagree with on a lot of things that has that quality for that reason. So I appreciate you, Jonah, and I want everyone.
Well, you're too kind, Chris. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
listen to
You said
listen
it
to
better than
my
I
words.
could.
You're going to hear a lot of thoughtfulness and conscientiousness, and you have to value that, even if you disagree with what he did. So.
Well, absolutely, and anyone who's talked to me has felt that exact same way. And I think that goes back to what we were saying before. When you talk to people, even if you do disagree with them, talking to them face to face or on a phone call, or actually getting to understand what their reasoning was, is you got to make that bridge of communication if you want to actually understand where that person's coming from. It's easy to read a headline or a poorly written article and get very upset, but if you actually read the issues and look into it and go to the source, then you'll find often things are less exaggerated than they may seem. So.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the source and go within yourself and ask yourself, what do I believe? And that's important.
Right.
And if you can't answer that question, without checking to see what like the right thing is or whatever, maybe you should consider working on that. But back to my original final point: don't let the terrorists win. Thank you for.
Don't let the terrorists win.
USA. That's right.
USA.
USA. The ordinary citizen.
Much love, Chris.
Right? Thank you all. This has been a great time. We're going to do this again and again and again. This is a lot of fun. And until we meet again, and we can provide more of this to you freely, take somebody's good advice. All right. Thanks again. This is Gomo Tonight, signing off.